What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're getting into episode 2 of the LS swap videos. And in today's episode, we're going to go over some of the steps that we're going to do, some of the products that we're going to use, and of course, the engine that's going in the Jeep Wrangler. In our last video, we pulled the stock engine out of the Jeep, and with any luck, by the end of today's video, we'll have the new one in. But first, let me catch you guys up with where we are currently. As you can see, engine bay is still nice and wide open. It's actually a little bit more open than it was when you last saw it. Just to make sure that we had plenty of room here in the engine bay, I went ahead and removed all of the plastic over here, relocated the battery with a simple Amazon battery mount, and then made a quick custom bracket to be able to hold the fuse box. I don't know that we're going to need that extra space, but I went ahead and tucked everything to the side just in case. But really, that's about all I've been able to do in the last week or two while I've been waiting on parts. So for those of you guys that don't know me personally, this may come as a surprise to you, and don't tell anyone, but I'm not made of money. And because I'm not made of money, we're doing this a little bit on the budget side. But I really feel like that's probably going to be where most of you guys end up anyways. So keeping that in mind, let's talk about the motor. And I've made you guys wait long enough, so here it is. The 6.0 liter LQ9 V8. Yeah, I already hear it. I already know someone's in the comments typing, the LQ9 is not an LS motor. Yeah, you're right. You got me. But it's close enough, and it's built on the same platform. So I'm not changing the title to the video, and the process is going to work the same regardless of what style of LS type motor you have. But with that said, you guys know that I couldn't have left this motor stock, so we shined it up a little bit, gave it a nice fresh coat of paint, and it is just about ready to be dropped into the Jeep. And our motor is not just painted pretty. Cantrell Customs actually hooked it up and did a full rebuild on this with a stage 2 BTR cam. We did go ahead and toss on a fresh set of motor mounts. These will mount directly to the stock location on the JK frame, so we're not going to have to modify that at all. These will be linked in the description if you need them. And ignore all the mess. My garage is a disaster, but we are using the 4L80E transmission to go behind the motor. And we will be reusing our stock JK transfer case. The non-Rubicon transfer case works best for this. However, it's not going to bolt directly up to the transmission. So we grabbed this guy, a nice adapter from Novak. This will also be linked in the description. They do make 3 or 4 versions of it. So you really got to do your research, know what parts you have that you're starting with, and know what your end goal is to make sure that you order the right one. I was able to call them, however, and they talked me through it, and I think everything's going to work. And certainly not the last, but probably the most important part of this whole swap is brought to us by our friends at Holley. We are using the Holley Terminator X Max ECU to completely run this entire Jeep. Well, at least the motor and the transmission. And of course, this will also be linked down below. I do want to say a huge thanks to the Holley team for working with us on this. This comes with a full instruction pamphlet and all of the goodies and wiring that you're going to need to get the LS that's there running in there. We're also going to be using a handful of other parts from Holley, so make sure you check them out whenever you're going to do this yourself. Now, don't worry. I know that wiring can be really concerning for a lot of people, but I'm going to try my best to make sure that this is the easiest possible way, and I'm going to take you guys all the way through it. So that's why we went with the Holley. Now, as far as the steps go for the rest of this, well, I know for sure that we've got to mate the transfer case and transmission to the motor and put the motor in and then start wiring and plumbing. And in order to mount the T-case to the transmission, we're going to need to use that adapter that I talked about earlier. So that's our first step for today. Now I realize I didn't do a great job of explaining why we're taking the entire case apart. And the reason for that is because this input shaft is not going to match the output shaft on the transmission. So as part of the adapter kit, we have a new input shaft. And to do the input shaft, we've got to pull apart the entire transfer case. In case you guys were wondering how this is going, I'm one bolt in, and this one got lefty-loosey really quickly. Sick. So yeah, I forgot to drain it and probably should have done that before, but I really wish I was joking. But that's one, two more. Three broken bolts, and this 1 to 2 hour job just got a whole lot longer. So the instructions called for that to be a 4-hour job. I thought I might be able to get it done in 2. It took me 8. So we did end up getting the transfer case back together. I think everything works the way it's supposed to. I went ahead and just placed the adapter on here so you could get a look at it. We got to a good stopping point for tonight, and tomorrow everything goes together. This might be an issue. I don't know if you guys can see it, but the new input shaft that we have on this side comes all the way up to the edge of that adapter, and there's no way that this is going to work out the way it is. So I'm not sure if I'm supposed to cut the output shaft and then maybe remove this. I really don't know exactly what the goal is here, and Novak doesn't have instructions. So I hate to think that I'm going to have to wait until Monday and call Novak and get an answer, but I'm starting to think that that's going to be the only option because I don't really know what else I can do to make this work besides cutting that, and I don't want to cut it if that's not what you're supposed to do. So gotta love it. All right, so I asked around on Facebook. There's a couple groups on Facebook with a lot of guys who have done this conversion before, and they told me you got to cut it. So you guys are pretty much getting to see firsthand what it's like doing this swap when you've never done anything like it before. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me as I'm kind of figuring stuff out as we go. But really, that's what the whole purpose of this video series is, because if you want to take it on yourself, at least you'll have something to go by based on what I was able to get done. So we're going to take some measurements real quick here on the different shaft length and see if we can't go ahead and chop it and make it work. So I went ahead and threw in the hardware for the transmission. I test fitted everything, and it looks like we cut it just perfectly. Now there's one more thing that we need to change in order to make sure that this is ready to go, and it is this guy. So we do not need that weep hole in this cap. In fact, you want it perfectly closed off. So Novak did provide a replacement. I don't really know how to get that one out, but I guess we're gonna find out. So I basically had to completely destroy that thing to get it out. And as you can see, the reason that we want to make sure we get that out is because we don't want that pinhole to allow any fluid to come out of the transmission like it is right now. So I'm going to hammer the new one in, and then I will probably end up putting some silicone around it just to make sure that it's not going to be an issue in the future. And we got it in. I did end up just using a 6mm and tapping it in with my hammer just to get it deeper down into the hole. But now that that's in, we'll use the gaskets that Novak sent us and seal everything up. Success. We got the transfer case bolted to the transmission, everything clears, and everything is good to go. Now, all we have left to do is fill the torque converter, throw it in the transmission, and bolt this whole bad boy to the engine. All right, guys, now for the fun part. So, got the engine strapped up. Yes, I know there's a better way to do this. That's the way that I did it for now. Also, got the torque converter into the transmission. The transmission is ready to be bolted to the engine now, so that is going to be the next step. I do, however, think I'm probably going to have to pull the transfer case off to be able to fit any of this into the Jeep. But because it's already on there, you guys know I'm going to give it a shot. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to go ahead and bolt the transmission up and see if we can't get this thing one step closer to being in the Jeep. After fighting with it for like 2 hours, doing this by yourself is definitely not easy. But I was able to get the transmission bolted up to the engine. And now, all we have left to do is bolt the torque converter up. Well, guys, I don't think you can see it, but I was doomed for failure from the start. None of these bolt holes for the torque converter line up. Well, guys, that's not the outcome we hoped for with this video, but that's just kind of how this process is. So we're taking a junkyard engine and putting it into something that it doesn't normally belong in. And with that said, hopefully our next video goes a little bit better. Make sure you stay tuned because this series doesn't end until that engine is in that Jeep and that Jeep is on the road. So until then, I will see you in the next one.